Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of Lore of League of Legends. We're going to be heading back to Demacia for this episode to cover one of its newer champions that, despite the hardships of her life, has found peace in her dedication to her city-state. I present to you the lore of Quinn and Valor, Demacia's Wings. Enjoy. The Demacian army has always stood a stalwart sentinel against terror and darkness. But as the times change, the nation faces threats that it previously knew nothing of. They may be fearless in combat and taught perfectly in the military arts, but an army does not always help. An army is a mass of humanity with thousands of soldiers marching side by side, so it makes it problematic to hunt down an assassin, or pick off an important target, or track someone down. For tasks such as these, Demacia has other people. Those who can go where armies cannot reach, where swords and spears cannot clash in their deadly dance. Such is the tasks of the duo Quinn and Valor. They are an elite ranger team of sorts, a unique partnership that is not often seen. A young common-born girl and a rare, previously presumed extinct Demacian eagle. The duo undertakes the most dangerous and complicated of missions, often leading them deep into enemy territory. They'll risk everything to accomplish their goals, from swift reconnaissance to assassinations, whatever it takes. Tales tell that Quinn's targets are often left blinded, riddled with arrows, claw marks long before their opponent even realizes who they are fighting. But despite her status, Quinn's beginnings were not easy. Quinn was born into a simple family with no prospect of a bright future ahead of her. She enjoyed spending her days with Caleb, her twin brother, dreaming that one day they would both become Demacian knights. They imagined great battles in faraway lands, gaining glory for their nation and putting an end to those opposing the Demacian ideal of justice. They did know, however, that it was unlikely. They lived a quiet, humble life on the borderlands of Demacia. As time passed and the siblings had grown, the daydreams were no longer enough to satisfy their hunger for adventure. By this time they were already teenagers, and with their developing minds a new idea had been born: to embark into the wilderness and look for adventure, searching for true danger. They still realized that neither of them would ever become a knight, but as long as they were together it didn't matter. They found comfort in telling themselves that one day they would become something more. But one day, an accident happened that robbed Caleb of his life for the first time. Quinn felt alone. For the first time in her life, she truly felt fear and uncertainty. She abandoned her dreams to become a knight, and for a year, she led a simple life, just as her parents did. She never left her village and became overcome with grief. A year had passed since Caleb's death, and Quinn finally decided to leave her home and visit the scene of the tragedy. It wasn't an easy journey. The forest seemed dead and there was no life surrounding her. It felt almost unnatural. Upon arriving though, Quinn noticed something that surprised her. A wounded Demacian eagle was sitting at the exact spot where Caleb had died a year earlier. She took care of the bird. Such a rare and beautiful creature didn't deserve to die. As the bird grew back to full health, the two had grown somewhat attached to each other. Quinn could see numerous similarities between the bird and her brother, and so decided to let the eagle stay with her, naming him Valor. Together they grew stronger. Valor recovered, regaining his full strength, and Quinn learned to overcome her fear once more. She once more found the courage to pursue her childhood dream. She wanted to become a knight. Even though she was dismissed at first because of her origins and lack of military training, she endeavoured to prove the generals wrong. After the attempted assassination of the king himself, a reward had been placed upon the head of Talon, the Blade's Shadow, one of the most famous Noxian assassins. Many rushed after the assassin, but none paid as much attention to the finer details as Quinn did. She'd heard tales of Talon's previous assassinations, and she knew he wasn't as sloppy as the attempted assassin actually was, and the direction he was running in was too obvious. She visited Garen, the leader of the Dauntless Vanguard, to share her discoveries, but he did not believe her. In her own words, he was stubborn and by the book, refusing to listen to anything she had to say. In an act of desperation, she contacted Prince Jarvan IV. The young prince understood Quinn's concerns and urged her to follow her instincts. This soon led to the capture of the assassin before he could escape Demacian lands. Together, Quinn and Valor had brought the assassin to justice. In reward for their service, they were granted Demacia's highest honour and placed amongst its most recognisable figures. Prince Jarvan himself had recognised their achievements and congratulated them publicly. Quinn was finally where she'd wanted to be her whole life. But yet she missed the forest, the feel of leaves and the dirt beneath her feet. She missed the calm and silence of the forest that had been replaced by constant chatter amongst the busy streets. Valor felt exactly the same. The walls of the stone houses were too restrictive for him. They left the city as often as the opportunity presented itself. It didn't mean, however, that they didn't love their homeland. It was often the case that the pair would find themselves being sent off on missions from the prince himself, such as their most recent mission to the frozen Freljord, to gather information on the possibility of war. Perhaps their most dangerous mission to date. It was there she came upon the Ice Witch for the first time after leaving the Frostguard's encampment. Both Valor and Quinn will do anything it takes to protect Demacia, and they prove it time and time again when they fight on the fields of justice. And that's all I've got for you this time around. Let me know what you thought of the video by hitting that like button and leaving your feedback in the comment section below the video. Don't forget that if there's any champion you may have missed, that you can click on the annotation at the top of the video or the link in the description to take you to the playlist. Thanks for watching everyone, and as always, I'll see you next time.